It's a real pleasure to be here with all of you today and to be with these great, proud members of the various postal workers unions who are fighting for the right thing. And the right thing these days, as everybody knows, is jobs, creating jobs and saving jobs. There are those who are sort of determined to accomplish some kind of massive restructuring of the U.S. Postal Service. It doesn't make any kind of sense. And this bill, H.R. 1351, that I'm a co-sponsor of, Dutch Ruppersberger is, Elijah Cummings, and other members of the Maryland delegation, along with hundreds of others of members of Congress, would basically just say, let's slow this thing down here. Let's make sure that as we look at the needs of the U.S. Postal Service, and frankly, when we're talking about that, we're talking about the needs of the public at large, because the public relies on the U.S. Postal Service. Let's approach this in a sensible way. Let's not just make these decisions without thinking. You've heard that there are some real questions about whether, in fact, the Postal Service is operating the red or not. All the evidence is that if you treat the U.S. Postal Service the same way you treat other organizations similarly situated, i.e. don't require them to pre-fund their pension system to the tune of $5.5 billion a year, which is an unfair burden that's been placed on them, and don't tie them to some accounting treatment over the last 20 years that appears to be unfair in terms of the amount that they've paid into the civil service, the retirement service. In other words, if you treat the post office fairly, you will conclude that the post office, yes, needs to have some efficiencies and needs to do, make some changes, but basically is an organization that's working pretty well and that the public needs intact. So that's why we are here to indicate our very, very strong continued support for this legislation that's been put forward in Congress, to just say, let's take a pause here and examine this situation carefully before we go do something that we're going to regret. And I just want to close with this observation. We hear a lot these days about job creators. And federal government is a job creator. And it's an important job creator.
That's right.
But we also can't forget about the job doers.
Correct.
Right? The job doers. So yes, we need to pay attention to job creators, but we also got to pay attention to the job doers. And they deserve fair treatment in the workplace, and they deserve good benefits, and they deserve to be able to have the right to bargain collectively. And I'll tell you, if you want to see an example of somebody who does the job day in and day out, look at the American postal worker, and you will see that.